In this video I'm gonna compare the performance of regular game objects and entities. Also, I will show how to break through the limits using Burst compiler and C# job system. First example is a game object that can jump, rotate and move. In this project we have cube game objects with randomized values of gravity weight, rotation speed and move speed. All the scripts you can find in the link in the description. I have 120 FPS limit on my laptop, so we can compare the performance when it drops below. Let's add more game objects. On 4000 game objects, FPS drops to 60. On 10,000 we have 40 FPS. 30,000, 17 FPS. At this point your game becomes unplayable, so let's stop on this. Now let's see the entities example. These cubes look like the same, but this is entities. This is how they work, using components and systems. Let's spawn some more entities. FPS starts to drop on 5000 entities. 80 FPS on 10,000, 53 on 20,000, and so on. We have 15 FPS on 100,000 entities, and I think it's time to stop on that. Now let's see what we can achieve with entities compiled with Burst. Burst is a part of Unity data-oriented technology stack, and it helps to compile your code in the most efficient way for the chosen platform. How to implement it? Super easy. You just need to add Burst compile keyword to your system and method. And that's what we got. 120 FPS on 5000 entities. No FPS drops on 10,000. 80 FPS on 100,000, and so on. $15 FPS on 1 million entities. It's 10 times more entities than without Burst compiler. Now let's see jobs multi-thread example. There is how do I implemented it. $110 FPS on 100,000. Finally, we have 18 FPS on 1 million entities. No such difference with the previous example with the Burst single thread, right? It's because calculations of cube movement are too simple to see the difference. And I added this black hole simulation to make some load for the CPU. This is a Burst compiled single thread example. That's how I did it. FPS starts to drop on 50,000 entities. 60 FPS on 100,000. And finally we have 15 FPS on 700,000 entities. And now let's compare this with multi-thread implementation. 26 FPS on 700,000 entities, 18 FPS on 1 million entities. So, what we can learn from that? If you want to make a game or simulation with millions of entities, Unity Dots is your friend. Subscribe if you found this video helpful. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one.